From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman. But with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home and business.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you that are in a rush and don't have a whole lot of time to watch my detailed forecast, let's get you through Kruger's Quickcast so you know what to expect for today as you're heading out the door. So here's Kruger's Quickcast for your Wednesday, November 6th. Now, typically, I'll start with getting you out the door in the morning, but here's what I want to do. I want to talk about the wind advisory first because we do have that wind advisory. Now, one of the things that I do really want to point out and stress is that the winds are just as strong for the Redding Airport as they are in Chico. So for all intents and purposes, this wind advisory should also include Redding, Red Bluff, and Corning. Same thing with that red flag warning. It should include these areas as well because the fire danger is just as high for many of these areas here. It's mainly gusty winds, low humidity, gusts up to 40 miles per hour in some cases, especially over some of those higher mountain ridge tops. But that red flag warning will expire at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So again, this is what I want to illustrate here. For the last 24 hours, look at the peak wind gusts in the valley. They're all pretty much the same. 33 Redding, 33 Chico, even warmer out in Willows at 39. And look at those foothills. I mean, you're talking 50, 60 miles an hour. So those exposed ridge tops, that's where we're really starting to see those strong winds and saw them yesterday. So we look at Futurecast for today. Now, the good news is that the winds will eventually die down. But it's still going to take a while. We got to get through the morning here, even the midday, still some of the typical areas where we're seeing those stronger winds. Now, later this afternoon, you see how they're starting to die down in the valley. Still pretty gusty for many of us in the higher elevations, especially in those foothills, but even down into southern Humboldt and even Trinity County, still seeing some gusty winds there. And again, these areas that you're seeing are mainly those exposed ridge tops. They tend to get a lot more wind. But look at tomorrow morning. A little breezy for the valley. It's still some strong winds in the east of the valley here in the foothills. But as we go through the day on Thursday, there it is. There's that relief from the wind. We're finally seeing those winds die down. And as a result, that means our fire weather risk will drop. However, the humidity levels, they're still low. I mean, we're down into the low teens here for today. There's tomorrow, as we go into the noon hour, single digits. But again, the good news is the winds are dying down on Thursday. So this is going to allow that fire weather risk to drop. All right, now let's get you out the door this morning. All right, so here's what we've got going on here. Take you out the door. You're talking about temperatures, low 50s in the valley, 20s and 30s for the higher elevations, and mid 40s for the coast. There you can see the big ridge of high pressure that we have right here. That's the ridge of high pressure that is one of the contributing factors to, of course, the windy conditions that we're seeing out there because we've got low pressure off to our east and the difference between the two giving us those gusty winds. Temperatures upper 60s for your daytime highs. I think some of us in the valley could reach 70, but for the most part, upper 60s. We're talking 40s and 50s for the higher elevations. Trinity County, low 60s. Even some low 70s possibly as we take you into the inland areas, and low 60s, even some mid 60s for some of those warmer spots along the coast. Let's take a look at that 7-day outlook, and I've got you dry through Friday. Stick around for the deeper dive forecast. We're going to explain what we've got going on the weekend because I've taken out the warning for rain, but that doesn't mean it's entirely out of the forecast. Of course, more on that a little bit later. Better chances for rain across the board on Monday. I have put the wording in there, though, for the coast and some of the inland areas. But again, for the most part this weekend, not looking very wet with that better chance for rain and snow down to about 4,500 feet, give or take, as we go into your Monday. All right, that is a look at Kruger's Quickcast. Now let's take a look at this. Hey, we got, I believe that would be Cherie, I believe is how you'd say that name. I don't know, and I apologize if I said your name incorrectly, but that's not the point here. The point is this. She took a beautiful picture from MacArthur looking at Mount Shasta. Now, these are the lenticular clouds. Now, you might be wondering, these are kind of behind this mountain here. You might be, well, why are there lenticular clouds that aren't over a mountain. Typically they're over the mountain, like you can see here, Mount Shasta. Well, a lot of times what can happen is the winds can be blowing like this. This is where you see the upward flow. When you get that upward flow of winds, that's when you see those clouds develop over the mountains. The wind's kind of going up, that supports cloud development. They go down, that doesn't support the cloud development. And that's why right here, you don't have that lenticular cloud. But sometimes you get a wave. So it goes up, cloud, down, no cloud, then back up, you see the lenticular clouds developing again. So sometimes you can see these waves that do this, and you'll see just, you know, one kind of a parade of lenticular clouds sometimes. So it's kind of interesting. All right, so we went into a lot of detail on that, but beautiful picture. Thank you for sending in that image. And by the way, if you have a beautiful shot you want to share, it's very easy. Just go to your app. Yeah, you've got to download the app, the Weather NorCal app. Otherwise, you can't share the pictures. And this is how I share the pictures. It's the easiest way. If I do it on social media or from email, I've got to take several steps, but it's a click of a button and boom, I'm sharing it when it's from the app. So from the iPhone, from your Android, that is where you can share your photos from. And let's be honest, almost 100% of all of our photos come from our phone for most people. So you don't even, it's super easy. All right, so here's your weather headlines. Now let's go into the deeper dive forecast. Gusty winds, elevated fire risk for today. Weaker winds for Thursday and Friday. Cooler, but mainly dry going into the weekend. Again, we'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a second. And a better chance for rain and mountain snow on Monday. And you may recall on Monday, I was saying the best chances for rain will be next Monday. And then, of course, the latest forecast models came out on Tuesday. Got a little bit more aggressive for Saturday, but then backing off again on Saturday. All right, so just kind of give you an idea of what we're working with sometimes. All right, the shoot fire, unfortunately, we're kind of at a stagnant standstill here with the containment. We were at 98%. I think it was 97% Monday, up to 98% yesterday, and today still at about 98%. But that was as of about 5, 6 o'clock this morning. So just keep in mind that that number may have gone up. Let's hope so, actually. All right, there's your fire weather risk here. Now, typically in the summer, we look at this with the current winds and the dry conditions, right? And we see a lot more oranges and even reds on the map. Now, the reason we're not seeing the oranges and reds on the map is because it's not the summer heat. So the three main categories this particular forecast model looks at is temperature, wind, and humidity. If you take one of those out, that tends to decrease that fire weather risk based on this forecast model. So you can see here a lot of these yellows indicating kind of that moderate to high range. All right, so notice again where we don't have a red flag warning, same coloring here as we do down here. So it can give you an idea that we still have that high fire danger, even though the Weather Service isn't really recognizing that. Then we go into Thursday, tomorrow at noon. You see how it's not quite as yellow, so we're getting closer to the low to moderate range. So yes, conditions are improving as we go into the next 24 hours. Again, big picture with the analysis on here. So you got the high pressure off to our west. This high pressure is one of the contributing factors to the gusty winds. We got these storms that are riding up and over the main upper level ridge of high pressure, and that's the reason why we're not seeing any rain for the rest of this week, and most likely maybe even into the weekend. Again, we'll take a look at that right now. Upper level pattern now. We're looking at high pressure, low pressure. I've been talking about this week, right? You've got high pressure, clockwise rotation, low pressure, counterclockwise rotation. Classic setup, right, for those gusty winds coming out of the north. And that's going to be the first half of the day today. But all of this will shift eastward. As it does that, the winds die down. Temperatures actually increase on Thursday, Friday. All right, now, what's behind me here, right? Here's the more active pattern that we have over the Pacific Ocean. So as this area of high pressure weakens and moves out, it essentially just opens the door. And it's an invitation for any storms over the Pacific to move on in. But sometimes those storms just don't really want to produce a whole lot for us. Let's go into Saturday. Here's through the day on Saturday. Remember this particular forecast model yesterday had rain and snow over Northern California. Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon, that's where the rain is. Slight chance for some of that maybe clipping the north coast. Now, this is a lot more aggressive than the European forecast model. The European forecast model doesn't have any of this anywhere near us on Saturday. This model does. Here's the thing though. This model was showing rain yesterday no rain on Monday. And so it's been going back and forth. The European forecast model has been consistent in keeping us dry Saturday and this whole weekend. So something to think about here. Now, as we go into Sunday, I think we'll be between systems, right? And we'll be dry on Sunday. All models agree on that. And then on Monday, there you can see, of course, that rain and snow coming in. This is where we're seeing consistency in all the long-range forecast models. That Monday is the day, I think, the main event for rain and snow down to about 4,500 feet. All right, now let's take you into Tuesday. This model wants to kind of keep it a little bit lingering around here, but through Tuesday, I'm going to keep it dry. And then maybe, just maybe, a chance for showers Wednesday. But even this model keeping us fairly dry for Wednesday. Bottom line is this. You can see here, looking at the Climate Prediction Center, it's got us in the wetter than normal category, the long range. But really, it's Monday's the main event. As we go through next week, yes, it will be cooler. It'll be a little bit more unstable, more unsettled, which means kind of a mix of sun, some clouds, maybe a chance for a few showers. But really, minus Monday's system, which, yeah, I mean, it's a fairly decent system. It's going to bring us some decent rain and some snow in the mountains. It's not a huge storm. Yeah, the winds are picking up, all that, right? But it's not a huge storm. And then going through next week, it doesn't look all that promising for a lot of rain after Monday. All right, now we take a look at the temperature outlook, and yeah, we're in that cooler than normal category. So this helps to support the cooler temperatures we're expecting to see next week. Looking at the 10-day trend, you see how we see a little spike on Thursday, Friday, and then they dip back down again. I mean, it is much cooler next week. We're talking upper 50s to low 60s for your highs. This does help to support the potential for showers, because in order for us to see these cooler temperatures, typically you got to get that trough of low pressure to move on in. Now, those troughs of low pressure typically support rain as long as there's moisture for the storm system to work with. So it looks like that's kind of the key. We don't have a lot of moisture to work with. All right, so here's your wave heights. They actually will start to decrease for today and especially for tomorrow. So that's obviously good news if you do need to be on a small boat. Looking at marine forecast, yeah, the winds from the north at 10 to 15 knots. Now the small craft advisory is through about 9 o'clock this morning, should be allowed to expire after that. And again, that, of course, in support of those smaller waves that we will see. So your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, I'm keeping it dry through the weekend. One of those stay tuned, especially for Saturday type of event. But again, the main story, the main event looks to be on Monday. 66 for Blue Lake for your North Coast neighborhood forecast. 73 in Garberville, 70 in Alder Point. Up north, 69 for Smith River, 64 in McKinleyville, and there you can see 70 in Orleans. Here's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Those temperatures around 63 degrees for Happy Camp. 50 though for Weed. So yeah, that Highway 96 corridor much warmer, and low to mid 50s along the I-5 corridor. 47 degrees for Tule Lake. There's your Modoc County neighborhood forecast with 48 degrees for Alturas and Calpines. Here's your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. Those temperatures looks like they're going to be in the 40s, 50s, even 63 degrees for Paradise. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures, I think for the most part, are going to be in the upper 60s. Some of the warmer spots may touch 70 today, but mainly upper 60s. Obviously cooler for places like Whiskeytown, Lakehead, should be somewhere around 63 degrees. But yeah, a nice little spike in our temperatures for Thursday, Friday, before they drop again going into the weekend. Back to weekend, again, I've taken the chance for rain out. If we see anything on Saturday, over the weekend that is, it will be on Saturday. And by Sunday, of course, the chances diminish a little bit. And I think the best chance for rain over the next 7 days will be on Monday. Well, that's your morning update. I'll be back again this afternoon. Until then, have a great morning, and we'll see you then.